Welcome back to the EGF Season 3 for Overwatch. I'm Prepaid and I have Ocean right here. And, you've been here all day for some brief action, but now we've got UConn versus Connecticut and Ocean. I tell you what, these teams look good.
The interesting UConn with a 7-1 record so far this season. I think it puts them in the top three if I remember correctly. Playing against the University of Cincinnati, they have a 3-5 record right now, but they've definitely got some potential. They're led by two players in particular, in Peach and O Speedy, who are very, very strong players, probably closer to the top tiers of EGF, but the rest of their squad is actively learning alongside those players. But those two players are players to watch out for, and if Cincinnati are gonna challenge UConn, it's gonna be on the back of them too.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati does come in as what most would feel is kind of an underdog, which I think is fair to say, especially with UConn coming out with two, as you said, the 7-1 record. But I got this strange feeling that we're going to find ourselves in a bit of a nail biter. I know a lot of people think we're going to wrap it up a little early, but I mean, Ocean, what does Cincinnati need to do in order to really bring it to UConn here?
Yeah, I don't like when I watch Cincinnati play is they always like change their support line. I don't
Mhm.
like it. I feel like they just have to feel what works for them on certain. At least maybe you can change your support line between control and like escort, for example, on different game modes. But they need to be more consistent in their support wise, particularly since they have a player in Peach on the support role who is one of the better main supports in EGF, and they need to get more value out of her. And O Speedy, of course, as well. They got to get the most out of him because if O Speedy isn't on it today, UConn are going to win this 3-0, and the underdog story is just going to go away immediately.
Yeah, Cincinnati's got quite a mountain ahead of them. Speaking of mountains, we're going to Nepal first, and they got to climb. This battle is going to be really strong in the sense that when you look at Cincinnati and you were talking about their support lineup, I think it's so crucial for a Koth map, King of the Hill, that you don't swap it up too much because then you start losing that ult economy. You start losing sense of what your real strategy is going into those maps. So it's really important to stick with what you said, the support line. But for UConn, I mean, I was looking over their roster and I'm not seeing any weaknesses. I mean, what about you? Do you see any weaknesses there?
I mean, I think the only weakness that I can see with UConn right now is that they've lost the game. But realistically, I don't even have to look at their roster too much. I mean, we know
Yeah.
they're strong, but just that one loss on their roster is the only on their team exactly is the only question mark for me. Why do they have that loss when they're such a strong team? What are their ambitions for this season? Are they going to be a Titan near the end? Are they going to be a team that could potentially win EGF? I don't know. We're going to have to go and find out.
Yeah, that's the question that might be answered today. Is that one loss, an anomaly, or is this more of a trend that's starting to appear for them? I'm thinking more of an anomaly, especially with how strong they've looked throughout the season so far. But new split coming in, teams maybe got a little bit of a mental reset. That means that maybe Cincinnati found their way in and are going to come out here strong, especially with. Is this the lineup you wanted to see out of Cincinnati, especially with that support line? Or is this not what you were
Uh,
thinking about?
Not really. I like the heroes that they're playing. I just don't like the lineup.
Yeah,
To be
yeah,
honest,
it's a bit.
I think we're missing a
Oh,
player. But there's actually something that I really want to know on Connecticut. Nelsie is playing flex support,
mm,
and I believe Nelsie usually plays hit scan for them. So that's complete difference to what we've
yeah,
seen previously this season.
yeah, and it looks like they're going to come out on a bit of rush here. Obviously, both teams are going to try to storm point as fast as possible, with UConn getting there a little bit quicker. You got the Tracer coming out instead of the May, so it's not a complete mirror, which is great. And the first little battle is going to come right up into the main choke. Immo's already out. And there's the first pick. Your boy Wings going down early. Going to put a lot of pressure on UConn to find a quick pick in order to make this happen. Sam on the side looking for the bat. Can't quite find the shots. Going to have to back off. And that is Cincinnati coming out with the first team fight win.
Team fight for that, and Connecticut could go with the Tracer then. This is their optimal opportunity to get in here, and they will.
Yeah, they will. And
Team fight.
yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a disaster there for Cincinnati as Connecticut just comes back in strong. I tell you what, Ocean, I honestly wasn't expecting that. I was expecting Cincinnati to hold a little bit longer considering that they had the positional advantage there.
Yeah, sorry. Just a correction. I actually just received confirmation. OSPD is actually not on this Cincinnati roster. It's actually been moved up in University of Cincinnati's esports program. So OSPD's not there, and Peach actually the player I was talking about. So the two players to look out for. Peach actually isn't on this roster anymore. So it's gonna be up to them, the individuals on this team, to be the carries for this roster.
Yeah, always really important to get the rosters right, and now we got that all cleared up, now we can really focus in on what these players are going to bring to the table. Now, as we see the fight coming in again, Cincinnati is struggling to really hold on to like where they want to participate in this fight. Like, they took it up top earlier, now they take it close to their own spawn, and they still kind of get run over. I'm seeing Cincinnati here, their rush is just a little bit behind on what Connecticut's doing.
Big part of that is actually as they're on the Tracer, who is kind of like just chill in this game, you know, is in the back line. It's kind of annoying for Genuine Fake to kind of constantly have to look back. There's a Tracer being really irritating. It's forcing out Immortality Field quite early as well, and some of those critical cooldowns are going missing, not in the ways you would really want.
It's over the top, not going to find anything, but the pick comes through on Ozzy. May going down early is going to be very, very tough, but B does come down. So Connecticut will stabilize through, even though the Diva Bomb didn't find anything. I think it put the pressure on the back to force them forward, and that's really what kind of took them out of it.
Oh, this is an unfortunate stagger. This is a long way to the edge of the map. Oh, no.
Oh, poor Divas.
They might not get another team fight. This is around 85%.
Yeah, it's looking like closing time. Yeah, no, Shadow's not going to find anything as we zip over to see that, yes, the Diva still is not in the fight, and they do pop window. It is looking like last fight territory, and poor Cincinnati might not even get a chance. The overtime is going to get ticked, though, so if they can continue to stall out with the Lucio, and it doesn't look like they're going to find any success in the overtime. Ocean, Rush looking pretty strong for Connecticut right now.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is that Tracer adaptation. A big part of the Tracer is actually to play against like fire comps or more niche projectile heroes. Because Tracer is quicker than a lot of the, or maybe more mobile is the word, than a lot of the Rush heroes. So when you're playing against things like Hanzo or Pharah, typically you're going to be in the open a while, you're going to find it difficult to get to cover unless you've got an amplified speed boost, right? So those projectile heroes are just going to rack up a lot of damage. But when you're a Tracer and you're more mobile, you can get into the enemy team's backline, take some of their cooldowns out of the occasion, and really start to nullify that deficit against some of those heroes. But they're not going to go for the Tracer anymore. They're going to go over to the Hanzo. I guess for a little bit more spam potential of their own for Connecticut. And Cincinnati, on my favorite composition, this is a different style of Rush composition, with Sombra and Reaper, the main DPS.
I was going to say, Cincinnati just did wholesale changes, and I love to see it. Only thing really being kept is the Diva and Lucio. But now, they are taking the fight right up to these doors, and they do have a good advantage here with Reaper holding close angles. Does look like the rotation's going to come through on the left side for Connecticut. Your boy Wings and his guys on the side. They are trying to keep everyone stable, but Hanzo gets found out. That comes through. Hanzo a little bit out of position there, but the point is going to go ahead and start in Connecticut's favor. Now, they got to find another quick pick like that. I love that rotation on that Hanzo there. Really, really getting into his face and making it tough. Full lessons about to be done right here. Will they pop it? They will. Really want to secure this, take the point back. A lot of pressure being put down now on your boy Wings. They got to find a way to stabilize, and that might be the pick to do it. Genuine going down. It's going to be really tough now for them to get them off this point. Dragon's going to come through, not finding anything, but the fight, I tell you what, is over. Ocean, that was actually nuts the way they just cornered Hanzo, yet it didn't seem to matter.
A really good start to the team fight. That's actually all you want to play that sort of Rush composition. Isolate targets, and then focus on getting your Reaper set up and getting that Reaper damage. Focus on then isolating players. That's what it's so good at. Sombra is great at isolating targets. Lucio, Winston, Diva, that's what they excel at. And Reaper is great in those duelist situations. And I got one of them, and then all of a sudden that fight just seemed to go away. They seem to be a little bit hesitant on initiating on the Brawl of Connecticut.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really tough spot for this almost pseudo dive style they're kind of playing. I know it's Rush, but that Winston needs to find angles, and right now they put themselves in a box, and it kind of looks like a kill box, if we're being honest. Window's going to come through, already done, founding pick, Sam. Gonna find Ozzy, that's a lot of utility down, and Connecticut looking like they might hold strong. Mega Monkey could find some picks here, but with that, with the hard pocket, doesn't look like it's going to happen. Honestly, usually I see the high noon being popped there, but I think he felt confident that nothing bad was going to happen, and yep, there it is. Cincinnati taking it back
I
to their
love that
spawn.
name for the Primal Rage Mecha Monkey. That's the best thing I've heard. Anyways, the important thing to focus on is 5, possibly 6 ultimates for Connecticut going into the next team fight. But the critical ultimate I want to point out is Aussie's EMP and Kurohi's Death Blossom. They could be a nasty combo going into the next team fight, and they have coalescence to engage as well. It's all on this EMP.
Yeah, big ult being popped right now. We're expecting EMP at any point. There it is. But the beat, he didn't get caught by it, so the beat is going to come through on both sides. And so both support ults are down. Window out. Shatter coming through, finding about 3. But in the end, I don't know if it's going to matter. And the Diva Bomb not finding any value, just clearing off the point. And there it is. Connecticut is going to pull it through. And I got to tell you, Ocean, I know we said Cincinnati had a chance, but Connecticut looked dominant.
Connecticut looked great. I actually really liked Cincinnati's composition. I thought both of the first team fights in each control map, they were good. Right, I thought the first team fights were good. I thought the EMP at the end from Aussie was poor. To be honest, I mean, it's got to be the fight-winning ultimate. I know you're coming up against, what, 5, 6 ultimates from Connecticut, but EMP is the best ultimate in the game. You're usually expecting to win team fights off of that ultimate. It is factually the best in the game, and of course you didn't get the Lucio there. Meant the sound barrier was available for UCONN. I mean, you got to credit UCONN support line. They made sure they were safe with that EMP. They knew that the EMP was there. It was good ult tracking, and that's why UCONN are up at 1-0 in this series.
And honestly, great job by both Lucio supports there. That's always what I'm most impressed about. Yes, one side has to deal with the EMP, but really have both of them always having beat ready to go when the team needed it. And it's about who can finish the fight after that, right? You got Coalescence on one side, you got Window on the other. Turns out Window had more value in that open space out there in the middle of the point, but the Coalescence did do its job. And I think right now, the biggest thing that I'm taking away from this is that every single time, especially on that King of the Hill, there was a punch thrown and a punch thrown back, but it just seemed like the haymaker from Connecticut hit a little bit harder.
I want to talk about one really unique interaction between the 2 rush compositions we saw on the Pole Sanctum, where you've got this Winston rush style with focused on isolation and this Reinhardt brawl style, right? Gonna call Rush and brawl for just this little conversation. Winston is very good at brawling. Reinhardt is also very good at brawling. They're both very good at close spaces, but once you get kind of within Reinhardt's swinging range, which is shorter than Winston's Tesla cannon range, then you're in a little bit of trouble, right?
Right.
Because you're trying to isolate players, and if you're playing in that small of a space, those players aren't going to be isolated. What you could do is send maybe your Sombra around the back, get a hack, maybe try and scare that support line to play a little bit deeper, and then you can collapse on that support in the back, for example. But I also thought the Connecticut positioning to make sure that, if realistically University of Cincinnati wanted to capitalize on their player advantage, they'd have to go and brawl in that small room, which of course wasn't really an option for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was kind of funny is when I mentioned the kill box there in the middle, that's kind of what I was getting at. I'm glad you explained that fully, because it's just one of those things. I know Winston wants to go in on a target, but I mean, that brawling space is so critical. And the fact that he can't go anywhere, I just thought it was doomed from the start and dropping into, I know you have Reaper and that's great, but man, I tell you what, Reinhardt is scary in that box. It is kind of one of those things. And Ocean, I wasn't sure if we were going to break or not.
And break in a little bit. We're going to head to King's Row.
Oh, that's right.
We can't break before King's Row.
Oh, you're right.
We can't do that. We can't do that.
You are absolutely right. And King's Row is it's one of my favorites from back in the day. As of late, I get it all the time. So it's kind of like really gets at me. Now, I got to ask, we saw, obviously, Connecticut is very comfortable with the Reinhardt rush, obviously. So are we going to see Cincinnati match that again, even though we saw on first point in Nepal that wasn't really their bread and butter? Maybe it is their bread and butter, but, they just didn't quite have it going in that first game.
Connecticut, you don't really see a need to switch things up. I mean, I actually don't like that standard Reinhardt brawl composition on the Pole Sanctum. I feel like some sort of spam compositions are better. I feel like I actually prefer the Sombra Reaper Rush composition that we saw at the University of Cincinnati, but unfortunately we actually saw UCONN play really, really well against that. I thought they knew what their win condition was, and that was getting into the fights into tight spaces. But King's Row here, there's a lot of options. You can run spam-based compositions. That's kind of what King's Row has evolved into, particularly on point A, where you can run compositions like Double Bubble with like an Ashen and Echo. You can run compositions like Wrecking Ball and Sigma together, right? It's not just your standard Brawl versus Brawl map like it used to be. Of course, that is still an option, and Brawl is still very good here. I don't think UCONN will switch it up, but there's some options here for Cincinnati certainly to consider.
Yeah, and I think I've even seen some compositions run the hog on the side for the pick potential, which is, I mean, I love that when they do that kind of thing. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that we'll definitely see some different variation because I think Cincinnati is at this point thinking to themselves, let's go for broke. Let's pull out our best comp here, no matter what it is. And UConn's probably thinking, don't rock the boat too much, right? We proved that we can run our style. This is it. It is what it is. And looking further into this series, right, I'm thinking this is a must win for Cincinnati. This is one of those, I mean, they've already kind of gotten out of the block slow. So now going into this next game, they have to slow momentum. I think if UConn gets up 2-0, we are in for an early win here.
And you know what's really interesting here? I'm actually really glad you brought up momentum because this is King's Row. This is one of the snowballiest maps in the game. Usually when we talk about snowballs, we talk about, you know, assault maps, 2CP maps.
Yeah.
But King's Row is arguably more snowbally than any of the maps in this game combined. And it's not just offensively, it's defensively as well. You win a team fight on point C, suddenly you've built up an ult economy, you can play on the corners that you want to play on, and suddenly you've won 4 or 5 team fights in a row and that time bank's dwindling down. This is a map where quite often you will see not just offensive snowballs, but defensive snowballs. And I think momentum can play a big part in this series, not just because King's Row's next, but after that, we head into Hanamura, which is also a very snowbally map.
Is one of the most snowball maps I think I've ever seen in my life. But King's Row, I think you've got one of 3 things, right? And it's so unique to King's Row in itself because you have full hold point A, very possible. Full hold point B, streets phase. You get stuck in the wrong parts, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And then obviously the famous one is point 3, getting around that second corner. Man, have we seen teams stall out for days. And in the same token, have we just seen mega rolls just all the way through, no stopping, no contesting. So it's so interesting that when you look at these maps with how the teams play them, the corners, everything from team comp to how they want to play each angle. And I think it's so interesting when we see stuff like May and you know how they wall off that first choke. God, I love it when teams find a way to just absolutely ignore that, right? Go up top right, drop down, and that's my favorite thing because it's everything has a strategy. But then we come into these games and the strategy goes right out the window as soon as 1 or 2 things go wrong. So I'm excited for that kind of thing to happen.
It's going to be really interesting as well. Of course, I was mentioning at the top of the broadcast, or just during the poll as we got the information, that Cincinnati are also learning right now. They've lost 2 of their players who I thought were 2 of their better players in the last split. So this is a learning process for them. As far as I'm aware, their first EGF game without those players. And I think this is where we're going to have to give a little bit of leeway to them, let them learn. As long as they progress over the course of the season, we'll be content with them. And no surprises in the compositions we're seeing from either of these teams. I mean, the Doomfist is a unique pick, but I think that's just kind of a replacement for the Tracer that we were saying on the Pole Shrine, where it's just there to bother. Genuine pick on the Reinhardt, bother Salty Nacho on the Baptiste. That's what it's there to do. It's not there to be, you know, your standard zoning DPS or even your standard throwing DPS here. It's here to disrupt, and that's exactly what Aztec is going to look to do.
And disrupt it does, but is it going to be a little bit too much aggression? No, nobody punishes on the entry because your boy Wings fights the first pick on Ozzy, and that is going to be all she wrote for the first fight. And that is kind of what you see. Once one thing goes wrong, it kind of all domino effects into the lost team fight, especially on King's Row. So not a lot of panic here. You don't need to do any wholesale changes or anything. That quick swap was just to get the D.Va mech back. I tell you what, Ocean, this is going to be a tough one to break, especially with that Doom, as you said, causing chaos.
This as well, because the Doom is replacing the May, and May is also a hero that causes a lot of chaos, and then you still have the Cassidy to so that's a massive slam!
I don't think they saw that slam coming that early, and to be honest, I totally forgot he had slam, and I really didn't think he was going to use it there, but woo, found 3, and that's all you need for a victory. Oh my goodness, I love Reinhardt slams that come in the back like that.
that was sick. It was really nicely timed amp speed that allowed them to get around the corner so quickly as well. Important ultimates to kind of point out is Nelsie's amplification matrix and potentially Samo's Deadeye. Two very good zoning ultimates that really will help your boy Wings in this next team fight as well.
Yeah, nice wall to block off the window, but the garage door still stands and the Rhines are falling low. Immortality fields are out. High Noon coming through, and with the Diva D-Mech, it's gonna fight too! I mean, no, not like this, but the other window is down, but I think it's in vain, as everyone does seem to be falling down. And Committees get out. No, you cannot, and that is another team fight win for UCONN.
Okay, so this is interesting now for University of Cincinnati. Right, I'm going to talk about them because they've almost got one of the most potent win conditions in the history of the Brawl competition. It's a Deadeye into a Blizzard because Deadeye is really good at setting a pace where your opponents have to use cooldowns to get out of the way, and the Blizzard is really good at slow pace team fights, but will they even get it off?
No, it doesn't look like it. I mean, Cincinnati falls low, but can the kills get finished? Mouse finds one, beat comes down, both beats are out at the same time, waiting on the beat to run through. Not gonna find any damage, but good stun coming through, stopping Doom in his tracks. Doom is gonna end up falling. Finally, High Noon coming out, like you said, creating a ton of space. Gonna cancel early, so that way you can put more damage down. Gets the flash out, now the recontest coming back through. That slam comes through, I don't know how many you got, but it got enough. Out, a helpful Fox finds a bunch, and UCONN gonna stabilize and take the point back. This is absolutely crazy. The patient game we're seeing out of UCONN, not panicking, even though ults are just being thrown at them.
That was the messiest Brawl versus Brawl team fight I think I've ever seen on King's Row Point. It should be simple. Swing your hammer at the enemy team, disrupt the enemy team, zone the enemy team, take some off angles. It shouldn't be that complicated. That was messy. And Samo has another Deadeye. I mean, speaking of zoning, this ultimate is perfect for that, and that's going to give it a lot more space to your boy Wings, to Nelsie, to Esdark, and this could be dangerous for Cincinnati.
And your boy Wings, I think, are the two causing just absolute amount of just insanity on the map. And Salty Nacho does find the first pick, though. It is the Doom, so the insanity is a little bit gone, and the Shatter comes through. That actually, I think, is going to end it, and a Helpful Fox eventually will get run down. Yeah, they're going for him right now. I don't know if he gets away from this one. Doesn't matter. Finally, we do see them break the point, and Cincinnati found their footing. It did take almost the whole 4 minutes, but the setting was found, and I don't know if they're rushing back for a recontest. No, it just looks like they're trying to hold the corner. Ocean, how'd they do it?
I mean, I did it because of a mistake and over aggression from Connecticut. I actually liked the aggression. It just seems it was a little bit calculated. Good ball to get to the space. That's another massive stand from your boy Wings.
I think I'm not going to say MTD yet because there's a lot of map left to play, but my goodness, these slams have come so fast and so quick, and I just don't think they're ready for them at all. I don't know if they're tracking them or not, but someone needs to get your boy Wings under control because he's flying high right now.
I like this aggressive hold as well. I think that they suit this aggressive playstyle so much because of the disruption they cause. Esdark 9 on the Mang. Esdark's having a great series. Was on the Tracer previously, played on the Doom. All Esdark is doing this series is disrupting any flow Cincinnati have.
Yeah, the flow is definitely disrupted right now while Genuine does find a pick, but it's not going to be enough to stabilize the team fight for them. And holding this close to the doors, I know it's a lot of people like, oh, you're right next to your spawn, but as you can see, it's the smallest choke in the game is your spawn door.
It's terrifying. And you can't get through that.
Yeah, you just can't push through. And it hurts so bad.
Oh, and your boy Wings hiding here for the Earth Shadow. Surely they gotta know that your boy Wings is there.
I was about to say,
can they go anyway. There's no way.
Could they go out the other door, please? That's what I was asking for. Take them by surprise, and it does look like they know what's coming out, but your boy Wings is not giving up on this.
Oh no! Oh no!
He gets 5 to the 6, and Ozzy's out right away. Akamina's doing his best to turn it around. Ooh, we got a pin on Nels as well. So it is back and forth. The fight isn't necessarily won by either team yet, as the choke fight does start now. There's a few people missing. Wall gonna come out. Blizzard coming down. Doesn't get eaten, so it is gonna find a little bit of zoning value, not necessarily any kill pressure. As we see Archimedes coming back. Cincinnati, I'm sorry, Sam coming back, but the beat's coming down. They are going to push really hard. That's just going to be the, boost out. What a wonderful, runaway. I'm sorry, disengage right there. I mean, I just think UCONN's almost the full package. Everything they throw at them, they just know how to react to and do it so perfectly every single time. Oh, here we go.
Nice on speed as well.
Yeah, amp speed's going to go right in the face of them. Stun's going to come out. Immo's going to come out. They do get a quick freeze onto Genuine, but it's not going to do anything. Here comes the beat. Do they launch the bomb? Shut up! Going to find 3-4. And that is going to be, I think, the team fight win for Connecticut again. I can't believe, even when they get shattered 4 on the ground, it doesn't seem to matter. And I think the beat had a lot to do with that one.
Yeah, here comes another. I mean, your boy has got another Sam. Nice. Self-destruct as well, the zone. Genuine Fate can't get away from that one, and I think this round's going to be over. The Blizzard is going to be well too late.
Yeah, the Blizzard's a little late, and your boy Wings with another shatter. This is total, I'm not going to say panic. Now it's just about getting on the point and fighting on point. And the payload is in such a rough spot that you can't really do any cover. I think that was destined to fail, especially after the beat saved them from that shatter. I think that was their one moment that they had. But you're right, this was kind of sloppy from Cincinnati. It didn't seem very fluid, and I think EDZ had a lot to do with it.
I feel like
or EZD
or whatever they're called. It's a silly tag. I'm gonna call them Ensdirk, but
okay.
we're gonna have to talk about that after Connecticut. Like, just have a normal tag, please.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, I feel like Ensdirk's had a really good series compared to Aussie, and the reason I'm highlighting these two is because they are playing these more disruptive DPS. In brawl-based compositions where you're running Reinhardt and D.Va together, usually you have one zoning DPS, usually a Cassidy or Symmetra, sometimes a Tracer or a Doomfist, and then you have your typical, your disruption DPS and your zoning DPS. The disruption DPS is going to be your Tracer, your Doomfist, your Mei, etc. And your zoning DPS could be your Cassidy, your Symmetra. That's what they do. Cassidy is so good at forcing different characters by different zones, so good at making Reinhardt's go back. But I feel like the disruption from Ensdirk has been terrific so far this series compared to Aussie on the side of Cincinnati, and that's the sort of matchups we've been seeing.
If you would have came to me earlier today and said, Connecticut's going to run Doom on King's Row, and it's going to have as much disruption as it did in that last round into the May gameplay, which is almost equally as disruptive, I would have said,
at this.
You're full of it. Oh, the sim on top of the... Oh, no.
Are they going to do it?
I don't think they're going to do it right there.
I think they're going to risk it.
Oh, they just don't care anymore. They're doing it, and that is a total shock to Cincinnati. You can tell. Immo comes out right away, a lot of damage being dished out onto the point, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sure they can sustain through this. And there's the first 2 picks, and Zerka is going to find just insane value out of the statue's head with Sam cleaning up on the back end there. I'm not going to lie to you, I think that was destined to happen when that Immo came out right away.
It was an awesome teleport, but you do have to wonder what Cincinnati were thinking, right? They took so long to set up that teleporter. You could have just ran onto them, right?
Yeah.
And they would have been able to do nothing. But yeah, that's just unfortunate. Awesome strategy from Connecticut. They look a bit full on themselves right now, as they're going to go over to the Echo as well. I like to pick into this because, I mean, Cincinnati are struggling to get back into this team fight now. Look at the space that Connecticut has taken already. They now have to walk into Sigma spam, Baptiste spam, a Fire Strike, Symmetra turrets, and an Echo. This is going to be really difficult for Cincinnati.
If Connecticut hits a big shatter here, the game's just over. That's how far we've already come. We are basically into last fight if the shatter comes through. Window's going to come out early to gain some space, and Connecticut is wisely going to back off. They know their win condition is 5 minutes. They can build up 6 ult and just go for it. As we see the wall come down from Symmetra, he's looking for it. They got to know your boy Wings has shatter. The 6er right there, and that is it. Game over. We're going to map 3, Ocean.
Yo, your boy Wings. I want to see how many shatters or shattered targets there were from your boy Wings. Your boy Wings had a great map, but I think it was because of the support, the disruption that Ensdirk gave. I thought the amplified speed was great as well. I thought the whole tempo that Connecticut's playing right now has been terrific. And you don't really see that in too many collegiate teams, the ability to control a game. Even in any sort of game, not necessarily just Overwatch, it's always hard to just control the tempo of a game completely, and I think UCONN have done that. And I think that's step number 1 for Cincinnati is don't let UCONN control the game. The pacing is always set by UCONN. That's why your boy Wings could do whatever they want. I mean, granted, it's also the DPS with using useful zoning tools, useful disruption tools, but your boy Wings is doing everything in this series, and that's because of the tempo that UCONN are playing and controlling. So Cincinnati really have to address that.
I mean, Cincinnati's having such a hard time. 22 Earth Shatters targets. I don't think I've seen that in quick play games. Like, this is insane to me, the amount of just shatters that came through. And I tell you what, the first few, sure. You don't know, especially that early one, that really, really early one on their first point defense. You just don't see that coming that quickly. But then it just so happens that he just keeps finding them. The value was insane. Ocean. That one got my head hot. That's what was going on there at the end. And now as we said, looking towards the series now, right, and the overall picture a little bit, we now have Cincinnati down 2-0.
Yeah.
We know that we talked about with the momentum, the way it was going, UConn looks now poised to take this series in 3-0 fashion. I've got that small feeling that the comeback train is really far away. It is nowhere near. Ocean, what do you think? Is the comeback coming or no?
I'm gonna be like brutal Ocean time. There is no way Cincinnati win this series.
Well, I tell you what, we'll find out here in a little bit. Everyone, go get your drinks, go get anything you want because we're taking a quick break. But then when you come back, more University of Connecticut and University of Cincinnati action coming your way.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for me. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
And welcome back in, everybody, to UConn versus Cincinnati. We've had ourselves quite a bit of action already. Yeah, in Ocean, we're going to Hanamura now. Thoughts? Like, what are we gonna see? What are we gonna feel? Is this the comeback train? Is this the dominant role? Where's your head at?
I mean, just by the face I'm making, I think this is really difficult for Cincinnati because we came off a very momentum-based map to another. The momentum of this series is fully in UConn's favor. The tempo of this series is consistently being set by UConn. In my mind, there is no way Cincinnati wins this series. The most important thing for them is to learn from this series and develop, particularly because they've lost two of their critical players and they got to develop from here. This is an important learning experience for them. But also, I mean, it isn't done because Hanamura, I mean, is a map where we can see some shock snowballs. It is a map where we can see some differing strategies. And that might allow Cincinnati to sneak back into things because that's sometimes what assault maps offer for these sort of teams who are struggling in a series.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the fact that it almost feels like they're being blitzkrieged right up the middle and they don't know what to do about it. And I think a lot of that is to do with nerves. Yes, they played some in the season, but this is a new split, and I feel like they're just a little bit shell-shocked. They're just not ready for the level of aggression coming out and the level of stability. I think a lot of their games have been messy, especially some of the ones they've won. And so now with a very composed team, they've got to find it in themselves on Hanamura to shake that tree, shake those limbs loose, and really find a way to slap back. Because if that doesn't happen, yeah, I think you're right. The 3-0's coming, not a whole lot, and it really is about, progressing, finding good things, silver linings. But what I'm saying is throw those silver linings out the door and win the dang thing. Go out and get it, right? I want them to come back.
I love it. I'm gonna quickly talk about UConn because they've impressed me today. I saw Nelson on FlexPoints today. I was like, I don't know if I like that. I do like how UConn have been playing. They've been playing really good. Their disruption's been really good, even though they're playing a world competition. They've led well in their disruption tools, and that's a really difficult thing to understand. And I feel like they've had a really nice identity to their play today as well. They've been really aggressive. They've controlled the tempo of the game. And you don't usually see this sort of identity in a collegiate team, but UConn have it, and I love a team with identity. But with Cincinnati, I do want to quickly touch on them as well. One thing I like about Cincinnati is that they're very flexible. They've been playing lots of different competitions. They've been playing lots of good competitions that make sense to play. They're not silly competitions. They're good competitions. They seem to have a pretty good understanding of the game. The problem is they don't have an identity, and additionally, their fight planning and ult tracking seems to be a little off the pace. If they just patch up those things and find a way to enjoy their Overwatch and a way of playing that is them, then Cincinnati will bounce back later this season, guaranteed, because they're playing really intelligent compositions and they seem to already have that baseline understanding of the game, which is improving in those areas of fight planning and actually making sure you're ult tracking and additionally getting an identity, because that's why Connecticut are so strong.
Yeah, and finding the identity needs to come sooner rather than later for this series in particular. And we are about to find out if Cincinnati can find that. But with that being said, we do see the Symmetra coming out, and it looks like Connecticut has a pretty interesting way to deal with it in that Echo. I love seeing Echo Mercy, especially against Sims, and especially on Hanamura. There's a lot of versatility that Echo brings.
Fara. We used to see this in Overwatch League, where Shanghai Dragons would run Orisa D.Va. I think they run Zen and Break or Zen and Mercy, and then Ashe instead of a Cassidy, and they run Fara instead of a Echo. But I mean, same concept here. You're gonna sit back and poke. Your Echo is gonna play from different angles. And it's gonna be really difficult for the Brawl to operate.
Yeah, and a clean entry so far for Cincinnati, which is so important, especially with these SimCons. But now that they're in, they find that early tick, and this is what you see. It's going to be a slow retake. They methodically have to get in there. Mo is down, stun comes through, nothing's going to be found just yet. D.Va is caught out a little bit. No! Yes, the DMEC does come through, and that's where the Echo damage comes in really fast. Mines find the BAP, and that's pretty huge. Sam does go down, though. So, trades and DMEC, no! Oh. That's gonna be disastrous for point 2 coming up next. It doesn't even matter what happens from here for Connecticut. No, it's gonna be the Finn. Connecticut with a fatal air there with 6 minutes on the clock.
That's brutal, because they did everything right. You know, they played the slow game, they took different angles. Ezra was able to build up the duplicate. They even invested the duplicate as well. They did everything right. There's one little misstep, and that misstep might cost them point B as well. We talked about Hanamura being snowballed. Look, Cincinnati, you're on the point.
Yeah, and Obab cannot go down here. It does look like he's going to be able to live there. But there it is. You had those late respawns coming in. I'm going to be shocked if they actually come through with this. Finn the Hammer is going to find a lot of value right there. Taking down the Rhine. And is that enough to stabilize? May's coming through. Finding good picks so far. Wall coming out. This is just chaos on the point right now. People are trying to find picks. Stall it out. Your boy Wings coming through with the Blizzard. And this is just back and forth, but it's going really slow, Ocean. This is really going to favor Cincinnati in the long haul, and there it is. Once that slow roll starts happening, it's really advantage defense.
I talk about this guys in that team point did really well because, of course, on second point defense on a more or any assault map, you're going to have better respawns. You're going to have massively better respawns than your opponents. You can see the spawn door on your screen, or you could see it on your screen until Nelsie turned away. Thanks, Nelsie. You could see it on your screen again for a second there. It's right there for Connecticut on their defense. This guy did a really good job of playing for time there and playing for win conditions. Speaking of one, the duplicate's in there for the next team point.
Duplicate's in there, and it's May right out that gate, and it does look like it's going to have an immediate impact as Sam finds a pick right away. Don't know if it was the wall for the dupe or not, but now here comes the Blizzard. And that's going to be all she wrote. A really nice, quick team fight win. But I do want to go back, right? So, just to reiterate, there was 2 late picks in that last fight when they first took the point A. And I thought that was going to be the downfall. And to your point, Connecticut comes through. And they just have a really good sense of how to play this game. But now, I'm going to go a little longer here. Coming into fight 3, it's going to be a lot of ults for Connecticut and only 2 for Cincinnati. And I think it's going to be a really, really hard fight for them to win. But if they can find some value out of the window, they are going to look to take the high ground right away. Mo coming down. Bomb coming out. Oh, he's kind of in a tough spot. And they do end up fighting him. Sam going down. Your boy Wings down. Jaze is going to try to save this for the team. Not going to be able to do it right away. EDZ going to find it. And now, here we go. We got ourselves a brawl. And Nelsie goes down. Looks like Cincinnati is trying to bring this back. Beat not going to come through just yet. And it's just all over the place, Ocean. They're just trading back, forth, and this is all it does is benefit Connecticut. And there it is, the stabilization comes through, and again, it's too slow. It's just not fast enough.
But they did everything right with the 2 ultimates they had, right? They had the amplification matrix, which created space for the self-destruct. Got some zoning tools in. They got a kill with the self-destruct. There were 2 players up. Then they walked onto Disguise, who did an excellent job of playing for time. They lost one to Disguise and self-destruct as well. And then Disguise got a kill onto Aussie as well. So Disguise really having a strong map on this Diva so far. And still, 4 ultimates online plus a duplicate for Connecticut. And those duplicates have been really strong from Mazda.
Really quite like what they're doing right now. They took high ground, they walled off so they didn't take a lot of poke. They evaded the window, and now they're on the right-hand side. Interesting setup for them right now. Cincinnati taking a bit of a different approach. I haven't seen this entry unless there's a sim on the team. And here they come, just find the early beat. It does look like it's working. Oh, the dude though! It's gonna just cause chaos for them, and Cincinnati's scrambling right now. Your boy Wings is down, but Sam gonna find a pick, Nell's gonna find a pick. And I think this is again what we've been seeing this whole time. Doesn't matter how many of Connecticut go down now, enough have fallen for Cincinnati. And there you go, another stabilization through Connecticut, and they hold.
For Cincinnati, though, that was an awesome team fight for them. They used their ultimates proactively. They actually put Connecticut on the back foot, which meant they had to use both of their spoil ultimates and the duplicate. And now Cincinnati go into the next team fight with a small advantage. I thought it was a cool approach. It was a cool rotation. They executed it well, Cincinnati. They just don't quite get the team point win. But they do get some benefits, and that's the fact that they've got both of their DPS ultimates for this team point, and Connecticut only really have their Dead Eye.
Yep, and I was just going to mention, your boy Wings coming online with Shadow. He's coming! He's going to find everybody, no matter what happens from here, Ocean. I called it. But I appreciate you mentioning Ozzy's Blizzard. It was used in that fight. I don't think Ozzy saw the shadow coming. Oh no!
I mean, that was a goal. That was an epic goal. Put it in a rail or something. It was awesome.
That's right.
That was awesome. But yeah, Aussies no value because of your boy wing his shatter, and sometimes your opponents just are playing the better Overwatch. That they control the tempo of the game, and I think that's something Cincinnati needs to look at. You know, why Connecticut has so much control over this game. I think it's a lot of it's fun to disguise in a helpful box, but I think the tempo has been controlled by Connecticut the entire time.
Absolutely. Even on these ults where it should find immediate value, people are surviving. Your boy Wings finds a pick, even though he should have died to that Diva Bomb. The ultimate value has been insane. The amount that Connecticut gets versus the amount that Cincinnati gets. Even in this fight right now, they didn't even have dupe in that fight. Cincinnati came in with 4 ults, used all 4, got 2 kills. It's not enough, and now it's just a scramble to touch.
Oh, this is going to be a difficult touch as well, because this guy knows exactly what they're doing. They're playing for time. They're trying to cause some distractions, cause some disruptions. As they're sorts to build the duplicate, this is a nigh on impossible task for Cincinnati.
It's just going to have mines on the point here to finish out the game no matter what happens. Now you have to deal with mines. Now you have to deal with the boop and the B. It's all coming together for Cincinnati at the right time. And second point, Hanamura defense is going to be a full hold. And a worthy one at that at 6 minutes on the clock at the start.
I thought Connecticut played extremely well. I thought that even their point A hold, which they quite frankly ruined.
Yeah.
I can't really say what they actually did on broadcast.
Mental lapse is all.
yeah, we'll call it that. I thought their point A hold was good. They set it up really well, and they just made a major mistake, which led them conceding point A. I thought their point B was good as well. They used their ultimates proactively. They kept the tempo. They kept the entire game. They kept their entire identity. And that's been really impressive for me for Connecticut. Cincinnati, though, I want to stress, this team has a lot of potential.
Absolutely.
And they better not make me bite myself on this one, because they do have a lot of potential. And if I don't see that potential utilized, at least at the end of next season, I'm going to be upset. I genuinely will be, and that's when questions will be asked of them. Because, I mean, they're playing different competitions, they're trying different rotations, they just got to find a style that suits them, they just got to clean up different parts of their game. But there is potential here. They've tried different rotations. If Connecticut didn't have control of the tempo of this game, we would be sitting here potentially 2-1 series, pretty close game. But no, Connecticut have just been great tonight. Cincinnati, if they just find an identity and work on utilizing those different compositions that they have and the potential that they have, they will be a good team. You just got to give it time. But if they don't utilize any potential, I tell you what, I will be mad.
Yeah, and here comes the quick rush with the symmetric variation. The wall's going to go down, but it's not going to stop the TP. In on point right away. And let's see if they take the slow approach. Doesn't look like it. Genuine's going to be in right away. Sam finding first pick on Lightning. It's already going downhill. That was not the patient game that we saw Connecticut take. But that's okay. If they find a couple picks here, maybe they can stabilize. I'm really being gracious with what I'm talking about right now as the fight's over. And Ocean, that was a bit quicker than what we saw. Actually, it actually might have been faster for Cincinnati, just because of the actual miscommunication on the first point. But no, it's just as fast, if not faster.
I mean, look at the ultimates right now. This is going to be a nigh on impossible task again, right? You're going to see Photon Barrier. With the way your boy Wings has been playing, there's going to be another Earth Shotter online, especially since Cincinnati are going to be forced into a tight brawl. This is going to be desperate times for Cincinnati. Connecticut look to have this in control.
It's all about stall and all about picks right here, and the picks are coming for the University of Connecticut, and they're coming in a hurry. Shatter going to find even more value, getting to Diva D-Mac. It's about stall. Can they get any more stall before it's over? And that's a team kill to end Hanamura. Woo! Quick 3-0. I think we all had that feeling that it was coming, so not a total surprise, especially the way Ocean and myself were kind of hinting at it. But I think the thing we can walk away with this from is Cincinnati don't quit. I think that's what I'm walking away from this from. Like, every single time they got beaten, they came back and went even harder. Different rotation, different angle of attack, different rotation of ultimates, and they never stopped attacking. Even if it didn't work, it still was coming hard and fast. And Ocean, I gotta say, I love that. That's one of my favorite things about a team finding themselves.
They dug deep in that game, Cincinnati. They give it a good go. Again, I think they have a lot of potential, and I want to see them utilize it, because it'd be a great shame if they didn't. Connecticut moved 8-1. I thought they were really good. I really did think they were good. I've not really seen a collegiate team in EGF Overwatch who have set a tempo like that before, who have had a unique identity like that before, and Connecticut really showed that in this series.
And there's the cat making ill-fated time. That's good. And she's out of here. Yeah, UConn definitely deserving of the win. Cincinnati, wonderful showing so far. I think we're going to see even better things. As I think this was a good wake-up call for Cincinnati. This was a good barometer test. Where are we in the season? Are we a top-level team? Are we, middle of the pack, or are we lower bracket? And honestly, what I think is, I think they went from almost mid-tier to touching that upper echelon. And now that they know what it tastes like, now that they know the level they're going to have to come at these teams with, they're going to be all the better for it. Now they know what it's going to take to win, and they can go back and practice it now. It's fantastic for them.
From this series, this is an important series for Cincinnati. It's an important moment in Cincinnati's season, right? They're 3-6 right now. They're mid-table, lower mid-table. But I think when we watch this game tonight, we see potential in them to be probably a high mid-table team, maybe looking at playoffs, maybe look at the lower echelons of playoffs. But they got to utilize the potential. They got to work hard. You got to take these experiences like this UConn game and learn from them. If they don't, they'll continue to be low mid-table, maybe near the bottom of the pack. But they utilize their potential. They learn. They work hard. They'll be close to the playoffs by the end of the season.
And speaking of great potential, it looks like UConn has found their way. Your boy Wings is going to be here with an interview with us. But first, we are going to take a short break. So be sure to join us right back here for your boy Wings with an interview. Welcome back to the EGF Season 3 of Overwatch. And as promised, we have your boy Wings coming in for an interview. And your boy, a solid 3-0 sweep against Cincinnati. I mean, what was the feeling going into this game? And how was it so, I don't want to say easily executed on, but I mean, what's with this dominant control that we see out of you?
I mean, expectations going into the season, or like going into the split, were kind of like mixed, I think. I thought the feeling definitely around it was that we weren't going to be as good as the fall, but the thing that like I've been saying is let's just do our best, and I guess today it just clicked.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like a big click in that game, especially. And for you specifically, I mean, practicing shatters against the bots, are we? Like, what's going on with these shatters? What's with this teamwork? I don't understand how you're able to find 22 Earth Shatters in a single game. I don't get it, you boy.
I mean, I think it's with me at least, it's just a lot of trial and error. Is like for that 22 shatters, stuns or whatever. I've had games where I got 0 and then got shattered every single time. It's all luck based. I'm not gonna act like it's skill. It's just luck.
I can appreciate that. It's a lot of teamwork goes into that. And Ocean, I know you have a couple questions if you want to go ahead.
On this UConn team now 8-1. I thought today in particular had a really a good aggressive playstyle and a really unique identity. Is that something you practice on, or is that aggressive style just come out in certain games because you're feeling it?
I think we talk about playing really aggressive, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But like when it happens, it's really good, like you saw today. It's just all, yeah.
I was really enjoying it a little bit too much, to be honest. It's been compliments there, and also later on in this season, you're now 8-1. You said, obviously, I think, did you have Pascal previously on your roster?
Yeah. Illinois State stole him
I
from us
thought so.
with a
I
full
didn't mention
scholarship.
it. Yeah, no, I was like, that's why Nelsie's playing support. They had Pascal previously. I forgot about that until in game. Obviously that is quite a big blow, but you played really well today, and you said you were a little bit worried about this next split, but today you played well. You have an 8-1 record. Talk to me about your kind of goals for the rest of the season.
I mean, when we headed into the winter, and RuPaul, obviously, I think before he announced it, I think he told us that he was going. But the big thing is just tempering expectations. Is like, obviously everyone wants to win a national championship. Like that's the goal, or everyone wants to win nationals. Is like that's still where we want to be, but it's not like all or nothing thing with this. Everyone on the team besides me now is freshmen after some changes, so it's like whatever we do this season, like if we like the goal that I set was try to win the East, that's our big thing this split, and then we'll see how far we can go in nationals. This is all about like basically building a base that we can go off of for next year and the year after that, and then when I'm gone, the year after that.
Play today, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And your boy, I do have, one more quick question for you. I know you're only going to do 2 or 2, but I have one more quick one. When it comes to this season, I know you just kind of laid it all out. It is what it is, right? How do you think it's going so far, as opposed to what you just said, right? Is this it, right? Are we going all the way?
Well, I like to keep my expectations realistic, because once if you have realistic expectations and you do something greater than that, then it's a plus, it's a positive, and you're happy about it. Is like if you set your goals too high, then you're just only gonna end up disappointed.
Right.
And that's something I've done a lot in my Overwatch career, where I set my expectations too high, and then it doesn't work out the way you want it to, and then you're just there frustrated. I think with a lot of these guys haven't played on another Overwatch team. I don't want them to go through the same thing that I went through with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair way to kind of end it here. And your boy Wings, I want to thank you so much for coming on and having this interview with us. And the insight was super awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And now we are going to take a quick break. But before our next game here, we do have, tell me what their name is, Ocean. Quinnipiac.
You're asking the British person to pronounce whatever the alphabetic spaghetti that is.
This proves none of you guys are from Connecticut. Quinnipiac.
Oh my goodness, Quinnipiac, and that's I always call him Quinn, but Quinnipiac, yes. And the other one is I'm totally spaced. Marist. So Quinnipiac and Marist. Oh my goodness, Quinnipiac and Marist. So go ahead, stick around, but be sure to follow UConn and your boy Wings this whole season with the EGF. Thank you so much, your boy Wings, and we'll be right back.
Thanks for having me.
find your way back home.